master as a cover to take, like when they found stargates or things in other places, they've used war as a cover to take our attention away from certain exotic, unusual discoveries that they don't want the masses to know about. Well, they conjure up all these, false flag things to distract us and wag their tail, so to speak. And I think there's stuff like that going on, but it's going to backfire on them because the truth is still going to come out. They can't keep it undercover.
Michael was just here. It was we had a great time with him. He was here for a couple of days, and he got to see the orbs and the ships and play with some of our technology here. And he was like a kid in a candy store, and wonderful guy. Just a beautiful soul.
Yeah. Well, when we know about the origins of what how much of history has been distorted and covered up because it contradicts the official version, that it's all coming out, and so he's doing a wonderful job to expose it and get it more in detail out there. And archaeologists either have to come around or be in denial. I mean, that's basically what people who want to keep the traditional view going, to keep people in power, because it threatens the power elite. And that's the whole thing when they say we can't handle the truth. No, they can't handle their loss of power. Okay, let's just correct that whole historical, version of it. And we're looking forward to these things with such, I think it's getting old, the suffering and the limitation, and I think it's time to bring in the new thing. So, and there's just a lot on the horizon here. And again, I want to invite everybody, too, who have not, connected with me in the past, to come to vortexnetworknews.com. We have my show, Cosmic Connection, and Bill Alec's show on alternative technologies, or a light show. All our shows are archived for the last 3 years, and there's a lot of good topic, good information there, too. And then, of course, prepareforthelandings.com, where people can, order either ebook version, download, or get a paperback copy. And then channelforthemasters.com is about my background, how I got involved in all this, and been involved on my mission, helping to connect with humanity to the higher realms. And it's an interesting, exciting time.
Well, what do you think about this flow? How do you think that's going to play itself out? Because it's definitely happening. There is this huge flow of consciousness and energy. We are, like Professor, I think it's Dimitri, talks about, we're moving into a new highly energized place in space. We're coming into alignment with galactic plane, and we've got Nibiru zipping by here pretty shortly, culminating in 2012.
Yeah, well, as I've discussed, and I mentioned this on Mark's show earlier, that he brought this up about we are coming up to the end of 4 major cycles. And every 26,000 years approximately, Earth goes through a kind of a graduation sense. And we're also coming to the end of a kind of rare solar interplanetary cycle in which the solar system's aligned a certain way. And then a very rare galactic cycle that also is aligned with the others, which creates even more momentum. And then to make it all more exciting, divine creation has brought forth the end of another cycle, which I don't totally understand, except the higher forces say it's a cycle that has never happened in the universe before. And part of that is also because we line up with the galactic center here in 2012. We get close to that. Closer we get, a lot of our gifts of the spirit, all of our spiritual psychic abilities and powers start becoming more overt, become more normal, expressed. And as we get close to this, and also there's been talk for years about the photon belt that we're supposed to, every now and then we've kind of bumped into it, but now we're really going to merge into it. Supposedly, according to some sources of information, that will cause physiological change. That's why I brought up about the 33 minors, Chilean minors, how it seems to be possibly a revelation for some things that could be occurring that we all are going through. Now, medical science will have to be forced to acknowledge things, even though whether they will openly talk about it, I don't know. But I think our bodies are adjusting and changing, and the new root race I've been told about, cosmic man and woman, Elohim and human, is merging and creating a more advanced form in a way for these new energies, and the uniqueness of Earth and intergalactic merged together is a very unique thing that's never happened. This particular form of the Admin-Cadman as it comes into being, and which means that we no longer can be controlled by forces and energies that are not respecting our sovereignty, that do not respect the sacred principles of the universe. We are regaining our sovereignty and our freedoms, and going to inherit the Earth as caretakers, really. I think that's a very accurate prophecy, but in the more intergalactic understanding of this, that we can now understand in the light of what's happening.
I think there's this huge movement. I mean, I don't know how this is all. I don't think anybody knows how it's all going to play out, but there is a major sovereignty movement where people are demanding back their rights. They're saying, look, I'm not buying into this legalized extortion program that's going on now. And they're also saying that we want our Constitution back.
Exactly.
And and basically, I feel if we reinstated the Constitution and then pass a law that just started trashing all these other rules and regulations they've laid that are unconstitutional, just threw them by the wayside, and then had a truth panel where we had some people with integrity. They're probably not going to come out of Washington. They're probably going to come from somewhere else. Your local farmer, or your librarian or somebody else, just get a panel together and have a truth panel and just say, okay, truth and reconciliation, we're going to bring the truth out. We'll offer you forgiveness if you come clean now, and we're just going to redirect this and go in this direction. And we need to do something of this nature very quickly, because if we don't, it's going to move right into that same Hitler program that we almost went under a while ago. That we
I mean, George Bush, he completed all 10 steps. Noemi, what's her name? She wrote a book, Fascist Dictatorship in 10 Easy Steps, and we did complete all 10. The only reason it didn't fully, overtly, and martial law wasn't declared is because the higher forces stepped in and kind of blocked the final sequence of things that should have, quote, in the old timeline, did in fact occur, and martial law was declared, the 800 concentration camps were activated. But in this new timeline, that's not happening, because it's a mute point, and if people are waking up that we don't have to go through that as a new creation is coming into being. And I think that, yes, we are going to bring in the constitutional thing, and if anything is in conflict to that, that's what gets me about some of the environmental regulations. They're contradicting the Constitution. If it's a truth and it's a good thing, it will not contradict the other truth thing, too. Think about that.
Oh yeah, I agree. There's an old Cherokee saying, if it isn't good for everybody, it isn't good.
Exactly.
And it's that simple. If you're not looking to the next 7 generations and everything that you do, and you're just doing this unbridled, reckless greed program, which seems to be what we're doing right now, how does that help this civilization in any way whatsoever, other than ensure its collapse? Both environmental, economic, and social collapse, and that's where they're wanting to take us.
Yes, and that's we all, as guardians, we have to ground the light, we have to call on the higher forces, we do the things we can do, and I have great faith if we do that, or are responsible and are open to asking the higher forces to help us help ourselves, then whether you want to call it a miracle, call it what you want, we're going to have the transformations to occur for those whose hearts are pure. And we will see, if we have that balance, and it's a balance, and use our discernment, cognitive, objective reasoning, then all our dreams and all our, greatest aspirations will come about. Meanwhile, those who choose to try to keep on that agenda, they're all just going to be recycled to the Godhead. They're going to be gotten out of the way. This energy is going to make sure they're not going to continue to interfere. They've been warned enough times. We're getting old. It's time to kick them to the curb and invite in beings who really do care about us, rather than our leaders who have been corrupt for too long.
Oh, yeah. Considering all this UFO activity around the world, I'm like a happy camper here. I'm doing a little happy dance because it is hitting all the press, and it's great. And I still have these guys just, totally attacking this, attacking your character, everything. It's unbelievable. They won't look at the evidence. They won't look at anything. And this one guy was really going at it, and I just said, okay, I have a question for you, You're saying we're ignorant, we're not evolved, we're crazy, we're this and that. And so, you keep going on with all these negative comments. And I said, so what grade did you learn that lying and deceiving and insults were not proper? I think that was about 3rd grade, when we learned that. And the other thing I was saying to him too is that he goes, well, I've never seen one. I don't believe in any of this stuff and anything else. And I said, well, you have to have a pure intent, an open mind, and a loving heart, and they are looking for intelligent life. So do you want to continue on that program or not? And, it's kind of amazing watching this fold in on itself, because now it's fashionable to talk about UFOs. Now it's fashionable to have contact, and it's totally shift now. And skeptics and all these other people are now the minority, and they're just screaming for attention out there, like jumping up and down like Rumpelstiltskin, trying to
and then, of course, we have
paradigm.
the last desperate attempt, because of what Werner von Braun had warned about.
The
last attempt would be to instigate, to make ET into the new enemy. But I think what's happening is as the energy comes on the planet and reconnects with all of our essence, it's reinforcing our connection. And so the attempt to put negative movies and TV shows as the last desperate attempt will not really work. There's always going to be the few or, afraid of their own shadow, but most of humanity is hip enough now to see through it and go inside and feel and acknowledge what's the truth about all of this. And this energy that's coming on the planet is connecting all of us together in that way, respecting our individuality, but uniting us in a common sense of a fellowship. Then we know that truth. We know, despite the negative programming, that we can connect together and agree on those things that create balance and order, and that because the Earth is surrounded in guardian action, any group that is going to try, or cabal try anything, they will not be successful. They're in the minority now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you see that. We have the banksters, we have the killing of the ocean, the Gulf.
Well, temporarily, but it's going to turn around ultimately, thank God.
Yeah, these lame wars that they're trying to start up again, to keep the war industry going. We've had all the toxic chemicals and medical standard medical, that's going on. All of that has been in everybody's face right now. And at what point do you just sit back and go, wait a second, almost every regulatory program we have going and people that we've given our power to are not in our highest and best good. It's like...
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
and the
But
basic constitutional...
anyway, we're out of time right now, so I gotta sign off. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Oh, well, thank you James, for having me. I look forward at some point to coming back again, and I'll have you back on my show also at some point here, and we'll just keep the flow of information going, and as new stuff comes out, I appreciate knowing about anything that is relevant to what we've been discussing tonight and any other thing too.
Sounds great. Well, keep up the great work you're doing.
You too, James, and God bless you. And as I always like to say, keep your eyes on the skies.
All righty. Well, we're out of time. James Gillen with As You Wish Talk Radio signing off. Have a great evening and watch the skies. We saw 4 major motherships come over and 1 massive power-up last night in about 10 minutes. So they're there. Have a great evening.